Hello and welcome students. We are into the 22nd lecture, video lecture of the video lecture series made on the subject of machine design, whose subject code is ME303, and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the cause of gear tooth failure. This video lecture is in continuation with the previous video lectures in which I have taught you about the design of spur gear, design of bevel gears and the design of helical gears. Before that, I have also taught you about what are the different types of gears and what are the different terms which are used in the design of gearing. Now it is time to discuss about the various causes of gear tooth failure and the modes of gear tooth failure. Along with it, we will also design a bevel gear today on the base of given set of inputs. I am Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. So students, let's start the video lecture now. First of all, let's explore the objectives of today's lecture. The objectives of today's lecture are: our first objective is to understand the cause of gear tooth failure. What is the mode? What is the cause of gear tooth failure? We are going to study. We are going to understand first of all this. Then after, what are the adverse effects? What are the adverse effect of pitting in gears that we are going to discuss. The third objective is to understand the problem of corrosive wear in gears. We will discuss about what is the problem of corrosion that exists in the case of gears. Then after, our fourth objective is to discuss the cause of the problem of scoring of gears. Scoring is a problem in gears, and what is it and how we can remove this problem. How can we what is the remedy of this scoring problem? We will discuss about it. Then the fourth objective is to design a bevel gear based on given set of data. We will lastly design a bevel gear on the basis of the given set of data. So let's start, students. Gear failures, three things are there. How we will recognize a gear failure? First is this, how we will recognize it. That first of all, it is very important to understand that whether there is any failure that is acting on the gear or not. So that how we will recognize that there is some type of failure that is going on in the gear. That is the first thing we will discuss. Then the second is that what causes them. Second is that what causes such type of gear failures. And the third is how to avoid such type of gear failures. How to avoid such type of gear failures. So we are going to discuss all the three. So first of all, the gear tooth failure causes of gear tooth failure. Before going into the causes of gear tooth failure, students, first of all, let's see what are the different modes of gear tooth failure. So this is the whole of the chart which is showing you the different modes of gear tooth failure. These are all the different modes of gear tooth failure. As you can see, scoring is, this is a mode of failure. Then wear is a mode of failure. Then pitting is a mode of failure. I will discuss each of these mode of failure one by one. But first of all, let's see what are the different names of the modes of the gear tooth failure. So these are the different modes of gear tooth failure. Then after, tooth breakage is also a failure, in which the tooth is broken into two parts. Now in it, what happens in scoring? First of all, you will see in scoring, students, first of all, you will see that there is some initial scoring. Then after that, scoring increases in size, and then it takes a destructive shape. Means it is converted from moderate scoring to destructive scoring. And then at last, there is frosting. So we will discuss what is scoring and what are these stages of problems of scoring. Then after, the problem of wear is also there. So in the problem of wear, there are three types of wear. One is the adhesive wear. Then is your abrasive wear, and the third is your corrosive wear. In adhesive wear, there is a problem of polishing First of all, there is polishing, then you have a moderate wear, and then you have a severe wear. These are the three stages of adhesive type of wear. Then you have a problem of pitting. You have one mode of the problem as pitting. Pitting is a mode of gear failure. So in it, what happens? First of all, there is subsurface origin. There is the problem of subsurface origin. Initially this happens. Then after, there is initial pitting. There is initial pitting. Then this takes a destructive shape and it becomes destructive pitting. And lastly, there is case crushing. There is case crushing, student. Lastly, there is case crushing. Then after, the second problem in pitting is the surface origin failure. The second problem in pitting is the surface origin failure. In it, first of all, there is surface origin failure. Then after, you have initial pitting. Then you have destructive pitting. And then at last, there is foresting pitting. So these are the different pitting in the case of surface origin failure. Then comes the plastic flow problem. One more mode of failure is the plastic flow. In plastic flow, students, there is first of all a cold flow. Then you have ridging, and then you have rippling. So these are the problems of plastic flow. Then lastly, there is one more mode of failure of tooth of the gears, and that is tooth breakage. That is what? That it is tooth breakage. That is tooth breakage. In tooth breakage, you have a fatigue breakage, then overloading breakage. You have a fatigue breakage, and then you have overloading breakage. So these were the different modes of failure of a gear tooth. So let's now move into the causes. What are the causes? While discussing the causes, I will explain you what is the scoring, what is pitting. So let's see. First of all, the different modes of failure of gear teeth and their possible remedies to avoid the failure are as follows, students. We are going to discuss first of all the different failures of gear tooth, and then what are the possible remedies to avoid such type of failures. First failure is the bending failure. Now, as you all know, students, that we can consider as you all know, students, that we have considered the tooth of the gear. We have considered the tooth of the gear as a cantilever, in which the load is acting. All right, in this way we have considered it that we have a tangential load WT. We have first of all a normal load which is acting on the tooth of one gear on the other gear. This is the load which is which is transferred from one gear on the other gear. So while framing an equation for beam strength of the tooth, we have considered that each gear tooth is a cantilever. We have considered each gear tooth as a cantilever. Why we have considered? Because a cantilever is a beam which is supported on one end and free at the other end. Means like this, it is supported here and at this end, and it is free here. From this other end, it is free. Therefore, gear tooth can also be imagined as a cantilever which is loaded at one end and is supported at the other end. So every gear tooth acts as a cantilever. Then after, if the total repetitive dynamic load acting on the gear tooth is greater than the beam strength of the gear tooth, then the gear tooth will fail in bending. That is, the gear tooth will break. So in this way you can say that if there are total dynamic, while the motion is there of the gear, at that time dynamic load is considered, and if the total dynamic load that is acting on the gear tooth, if it is greater than the strength of the gear, then what will happen? Then in that case, that then in that case the gear tooth will fail in bending. There will be bending of the gear tooth. That is, the gear tooth will break. You all know, if you are considering, students, if for example, in broad sense, to make you understand, if I am making this is a gear tooth and it is fixed at here, it is fixed here. All right, now when you are applying load on it, when you are applying a tangential load on it, when you are applying a normal load on it, on its component in the tangential direction, which is written as WT, this load, this WT load, it will cause the beam, to bend. This tangential load, this will cause the beam to bend in this way. This will cause the beam to bend in this way. All right, and a situation will come and a time will come that the teeth will be broken into two pieces. So this is the problem of bending. This is the basically the problem of bending in the gear tooth, which will finally cause the gear tooth to break it into two pieces. Now, how we can avoid this? How we can avoid this problem of bending failure? So the problem of bending failure can be avoided if the beam strength is kept always greater than the dynamic load. So always the strength of the gear tooth should be greater than the dynamic load. So this dynamic load should always be considered while designing a gear tooth. Therefore, in the case, while telling you about the procedure of gear design, I have told you how this dynamic load is calculated and how it is compared with the beam strength in order to check whether the dimensions like module, face width, all right, these parameters of the gears, face width and module, how these values are checked even after calculating its value from the Lewis equation. From Lewis equation, students, the value which we use to calculate of beam strength, that is checked for dynamic loading. So in this way, your this strength of the tooth should be greater than the dynamic load. So this was the first failure, which is known as the bending failure, students. Now we are coming into the second mode of failure, and that is known as pitting. Now let's discuss about the pitting. Pitting is basically a surface fatigue failure. Now this occurs, why this occurs? Due to repetitions of hinged contact stresses. Where the hinged contact stresses repeats again and again during the motion of the gear. When the gear is in operation, then what happens? This hinged contact stresses, they are repeated again and again, and due to this there is a surface fatigue failure, which is known as pitting. And how it starts? The failure occurs, it starts when the contact surface stresses are higher than the endurance limit of the material. It occurs when the contact stresses, means whenever the two tooths of the different gears, when they are in contact, students, then in that case, when the contact stresses, the stresses at the point of contact, when they are higher than the endurance limit of the material. Endurance limit, you all know that what is endurance limit? If a material can sustain 10 to the power 6 number of cycles, then the value of the stress at that time is known as endurance stress. That is the endurance limit of the material. All right, so if this endurance limit, if the contact stresses which are acting, if that are greater than the endurance limit of the material, then pitting occurs. Then the third is the failure starts with the formation of pit, which continue to grow, resulting in the rupture of tooth surface. What happens, students? These small mini pits, small pits which are formed due to this surface fatigue failure, this formation of pits, these small pits, they grow in size, resulting in the rupture of tooth surface. The whole of the tooth surface is ruptured due to it. The holes of the tooth surface is ruptured due to it. Now what should be done in order to avoid it? In order to avoid it, the pitting, in order to avoid the pitting problem, the dynamic load between the gear tooth should be less than the dynamic load between the gear tooth should be less than the wear strength of the gear tooth. It should be less than the wear strength of the gear tooth. So while designing itself, they should be kept in mind that the dynamic load between the gear tooth, it should be always less than the wear strength of the gear tooth in order to avoid the problem of pitting. In the diagram also you can see, this is the actual diagram of the initial pitting. Initially small pits you are seeing, which will develop into a big pit before failure. Moving further, once again I am telling you about pitting. In initial pitting, students, what happens in initial pitting? In initial pitting, students, generally what happens, it is basically, as I have told to you, it is a localized phenomena and it is characterized by small pits at high spots. These spots continuously worn out and load is redistributed. And it is caused by what? It is caused by errors in tooth profile. It is caused by errors in tooth profile, surface irregularity and misalignment. So there are three causes of initial pitting. One is the error in tooth profile, second is the surface irregularity, and third is misalignment. Now let's discuss what is the remedies of initial pitting. So the remedies of initial pitting are, first is precise machining of gear. There should be always a precise machining of gear. Whenever the gears are machined, they should be very precise. They should be very accurate, precise. Then after, there should be always correct alignment of gears. There should always be correct alignment of gear. If there will be misalignment, then this problem will be there, that abrupt forces will be acting on the tooth of the gear. So there should always be some correct alignment of the gears, so that the load is uniformly distributed across the face width. Load, if there will be precise machining of gears and correct alignment of the gears, then in that case there will always be uniformly distribution of load across the face width. Moving further, coming into the next one, the corrosive wear. Corrosive wear is basically what? As I have told to you, it is a problem of corrosion. It is a problem of corrosion, and it is due to what? It is due to corrosive elements. And now what are corrosive elements? We all know in daily life we see a lot of corrosion around ourselves, like all the iron materials made of metals, you will see there is a problem of corrosion in them. So what are the reason behind them? The same reason is here also in the case of gears also. The corrosive elements like the extreme pressure additives present in lubricating oil. In lubricating oil, which is used whenever there is a motion between the two parts, then in that case we always lubricate the parts. And in that case, if there is some extreme pressure additive added in lubricating oil, then it causes corrosion. Then apart from that, one more corrosive element is present in lubricating oil, and that is the foreign particles. Foreign particles like dirt, dust, if they enter into the gears, then they will cause the external contamination. Alright, and they are due to external contamination. So the foreign particles, due to external contamination, they also cause corrosive wears. The remedies, what can be the remedies of corrosive wear? The remedies of corrosive wears can be providing complete enclosure to gears. Always, student, in order to prevent this corrosion, you will have to prevent the gear from the corrosive atmosphere. And how you can prevent it? You can provide an enclosure. You can provide enclosure to the gears. If these are the two gears, students, which you are using for power transmission, always enclose it in this way. Always enclose it. All right. So first is remedy is to proper complete enclosure of the gears. You should provide a casing. This means that you should provide a casing here. There should be a casing covering the gears. And the second is using proper pressure additives in the lubricating oil. The second is that the pressure additives which you are adding in lubricating oil, you should be very cautious about them. Use the proper additives whichever is required and which does not cause any corrosion. Then the third is replacing oil at regular intervals. Then the third is you should always replace the oil at regular intervals. The oil which you are using for lubrication, it should not be that you are using excessively that same oil without changing it. Always change the lubricating oil. Always change the lubricating oil at regular intervals. Then as I have told you, one was initial pitting. In the same way, there is destructive pitting. What is destructive pitting? As I have told you, it is similar to your initial pitting. Means it is a surface fatigue failure, and it occurs when load on the gear tooth exceeds the endurance strength of the material, similar to initial pitting. And what happens? These spots which were caused by initial pitting, these continuously grow, result in complete destruction of the tooth, and even in some cases it causes premature breakage of the tooth. In some cases it has been found that due to this initial pitting, which finally takes the shape of destructive pitting, that causes premature breakage of the tooth. It causes premature breakage of the tooth. Actually, basically, these small spots which are caused due to initial pitting, they grow continuously, resulting in complete destruction of the tooth. So destructive pitting, how can it be solved? This can be solved same in the proper designing. If you do the proper designing of the gears, proper designing means designing in such a way that the strength of the gear is more than the sum of the static and dynamic load. Strength of the gear, it should be more than the sum of the static and dynamic load. And also the second thing is that the hardness of the gears, that should also be increased. The hardness of the gear, that should also be increased. Students. Hardness, one is the hardness, it should be increased, and second is the strength of the gear. It should be greater than the sum of static and dynamic loading. It should be greater than sum of the static and dynamic loading. All right, so this was destructive pitting. Now then, after, there is problem of scoring. So what is scoring? Let me make you explain. Scoring is basically what? Due to excessive heat generation, there is excessive surface pressure, high speed, or supply of lubricant. These things fail due to scoring. So the excessive heat is generated when there is an excessive surface pressure, high speed, or supply of lubricants. So basically, scoring is a stick-slip phenomena. It is what? Scoring is a stick-slip phenomena in which alternate shearing and welding takes place rapidly at high spots. All right. So, as you all know, whenever the two gears are in motion, as you can see, students, when see in this animation also, you can see that two gears are continuously in motion with each other. What will happen? There will be high heat generated, high excessive heat will be generated between them, and there will be high pressure and high speed, and due to which what will happen? This lubrication between them, it fails. Lubrication between the gears, it fails due to this high heat, because of high pressure, high heat, and high speed. And the phenomena of scoring occurs. Scoring is basically a stick-slip phenomena. Stick-slip means there will be alternate shearing and welding. Due to this high temperature, what will happen? Small particles of the metals of the two gears, they will join with each other, and they will be removed from each other. So basically what is happening? There is welding, there is temporary welding and temporary shearing between the metals of the two gears, and due to this alternate shearing and welding which takes place, all right, there is a problem which is known as stick-slip phenomena, which is given a name scoring. This type of failure can be avoided. By properly designing the parameters by properly designing the parameters. What are the parameters? Speed, pressure, proper flow of lubricant. These type of parameters like speed, pressure and proper flow of lubricant, they should be properly designed in order to avoid this problem of scoring, so that what will happen, so that the temperature at the rubbing surface is within the permissible limits. Basically our objective here to remove scoring is by keeping the temperature at the rubbing surface low. Now scoring can also be explained in this way, that it is due to excessive surface pressure, high surface speed. It is due to excessive pressure, student, excessive surface pressure, the pressure between the surfaces, and due to high surface speed, and due to inadequate supply of lubricating oil, which results in breakdown of the film. It results in breakdown of the film. The film between the two, the film of the lubricant between the two surfaces of the gear tooth, when it breaks down, then this scoring occurs, and breakdown of film is due to excessive surface pressure, high surface speed and inadequate supply of lubricating oil. Now this results in excessive frictional loss of heat, frictional heat, overheating of meshing teeth. All right, and finally there is a stick slip phenomena in which there is alternate welding and shearing of the material. The solution of this, as I have already told you, we should select proper surface pressure, surface speed, and also the flow of lubricating oil should be in such a way that it results in temperature within permissible limits. And also we can provide fins. We can also provide fins on the outside surface of the gearbox in order to dissipate the heat, and also a fan can be used. A fan for forced circulation of air over the fins can be used if there is excessive heat which is generated and it cannot be avoided. In that case we can use a fan for forced heat circulation of air over the fins. And this was the problem of scoring, as well as the remedies which can be used in order to remove this scoring problem. Then abrasive wear and corrosive wear, as I have already told you, the foreign particles in the lubricant such as dirt, dust or burr, these three foreign particles like dirt, dust or burrs, they enter the tooth and damage the form of the tooth. They damage the forms of the tooth. In this way, you can see in the diagram also, the whole of the form of the tooth, is damaged here. You can see in this portion, you can see the whole of the form of the tooth is damaged due to abrasive wears. And why is it so? It is due to the presence of dirt, dust and burrs between the tooth surfaces. This type of failure can be avoided. By providing filters for lubricating oils, or by using high viscosity lubricating oil, which enables the formation of thicker oil film. When you will use highly viscous lubricating oil, then it will be always present in the oil film. It will be thick, and hence, since it will be thick, therefore it will permit easy passage of such particles without damaging the gear surface. If we will put a highly viscous lubricating oil, so what will happen, that highly viscous oil film will be thick, and when it will be thick, then it will permit easy passage of dirt, dust or burrs without damaging the gear surface. Now apart from that, the second one, there is corrosive wear also. And what is corrosive wear? The corrosion of the tooth surface is basically caused due to the presence of corrosive elements. And corrosive elements are what? Additives present in lubricating oils. In order to avoid this corrosive wear, proper anti-corrosive additives should be used. Anti-corrosive additives should be used in order to remove the corrosion. There should be proper anti-corrosive additives. All right. So this is basically your corrosive wear, which is caused due to the corrosive elements present in lubricating oil. Then after, students, abrasive wear I have already told to you. Now let's solve a question. Let's solve a numerical which is based on the design of bevel gear, since we have only solved one numerical in our previous video lecture. So let's solve a numerical which is based on designing of bevel gears. First of all, what are the formulas which are used in design of bevel gears? So these are the formula, students. I have told you there is a pressure angle, there is a pitch angle of both the gears. Theta P1, theta P2 is the name given to them. Then you have radius of both the gears, pitch radius of both the gears. Then you have angle between the shaft of the two gears. Alright, and what is the relation between the pitch angle of both the gears? Pitch angle for the pinion is taken as equal to tan inverse 1 upon velocity ratio. Alright, and pitch angle for the gear is equal to tan inverse velocity ratio. Also, we have to calculate equivalent number of teeth for bevel gearing. So for bevel gearing, equivalent number of teeth can be calculated by this formula. TE is equal to T sec theta P. TE is equal to T sec theta P, where T is what? T is the actual number of teeth. T is basically what? T is your actual number of teeth. T is basically your actual number of teeth. Now, and theta P is what? Theta P is the angle for which we are considering the equivalent number of teeth. Generally, the weaker one is considered for designing, and we will consider the equivalent number of teeth for the weaker one. Then after the beam strength of the tooth, the tangential load, or we can say the beam strength of the tooth, is calculated by this Lewis equation for bevel gear, and it gives you the value of tangential load WT is equal to, WT is basically what? WT is the tangential load. It is the tangential load. Tangential load WT is equal to sigma naught into CV. CV is basically your velocity factor. It is what? It is your velocity factor, as I have already told you. In short, I am writing velocity factor. You can for deep study of this topic, you can go into the previous video lecture. And then after there is B, face width. You have B is basically your face width. B is your face width, and M is your module, and Y dash is your Lewis form factor. Y dash is your Lewis form factor. Lewis form factor. Since it is modified, therefore it is also sometimes known as modified Lewis form factor. And this L minus B by L, L minus B by L, this is known as the bevel factor. This is known as the bevel factor. All right, so these are the terms. This is the tangential load this is actually a Lewis equation. This is a Lewis equation which gives you relation between the tangential load and different parameters. Also, if you want to find the cone distance is this. If you take this distance from this particular point to this particular point, so the distance between them is your cone distance. Here in the diagram, students, here in the diagram, this is your cone distance from here to here. If this is B, and here if this is A, then AB is your cone distance, and it is given by the formula, OP is equal to pitch radius upon sine theta P. OP is equal to pitch radius upon sine theta P. Pitch radius, we all know, it can be calculated by dp by 2, diameter divided by 2, and sine theta P is the pitch angle, sine of the pitch angle. And this for both we can use, and this can give us the relation between the pressure pitch angle for both the gears, for pinion as well as gear. Alright, because OP is common to both, this OB is common to both. OB is common to this triangle also, which is for pinion, and also common to this triangle also, which is your gear. So by putting the sine theta P1, we can get this AB from the pinion geometry, and you can again get this AB from the gear by using in the triangle of theta P2. So these were the equations which we'll be using in the design of bevel gears. Then apart from that, we will also check our designing parameters. This is your bevel factor, as I have already told to you, and we will check for static tooth load and dynamic tooth load. We will check our design We will check whether the value of phase width and module which we have calculated, whether it is correct or not. We will find the static tooth load by this formula, and we will see whether it is less than the tangential load or not. And then also we will calculate the wear tooth load, and we will check whether this particular wear tooth load is greater than the tangential tooth load or not. So let's go into the example now. These are the steps which we will follow on the basis of the power given to us, power transmitted given to us. We will calculate the torque transmitted, and from torque transmitted we can calculate the value of tangential load, because mean radius of the pinion is already known to us. Alright, and then after we will move further. This is the question, students. Let's discuss this question. A pair of cast iron bevel gear connects two shafts at right angles. So this is important information. Through this information, one simplified formula for theta P1 and theta P2 we can use. I will tell you. Then after, the pitch diameters of the pinion and the gears are given to you as 80 mm and 100 mm respectively. These are the pitch diameters of pinion and gears. Means these are dP and dG. What are these? These are, students, dP and dG. This is your dP and this 100 is your dG. 100 is your dG. Alright. Then after, the tooth profile of the gears are 14.5 composite form. The allowable static stress for both the gears is 55 megapascal. So this is the value of sigma OP and OG both. Then after, if the pinion transmit 2.75 kilowatts, so this is the power that will be transmitted. Then after, RPM is also given to you. Of the pinion it has given to you, means it is NP. It is what? It is basically, students, your NP. NP. Find the module and number of teeth on each gear from a standpoint of strength and check. First we will have to calculate the module, the number of the teeth, and then we will check the design from the standpoint of wear. The surface endurance limit we will take as 630 megapascal, and modulus of elasticity we will take as 84 kilonewton per millimeter square. So endurance limit is sigma E, and 84, this is the modulus of elasticity E. Alright, for cast iron. So whatever details which are given to us, we have first of all compiled each detail. We have been given, since the angle between the two shafts is 90 degree, means theta S is 90 degree. We have been provided with the diameter of the pinion. We also have been provided with the diameter of the gear. Then the pressure angle is also given to us as 14.5 degree. This is the pressure angle, students. Then after, we have been provided the allowable stress, allowable static stress. We have been provided with allowable static stress OP and OG, and that is 55 Newton per mm square. Then we have power also, that is transmitted 2750 watt. Then RPM of pinion is given to us, and endurance stress we have also been given a surface endurance limit as 630 Newton per mm square. Then modulus of elasticity, since the material of both the gear is cast iron. Since, student, the material of both the gear is cast iron, so the modulus of elasticity will be same for both. And it is how much? It is your 84. Now let's move all the things which are given to us. We have discussed them. Now first of all, since the angle between the shaft is right angle, we can use this formula. Theta P1 is equal to tan inverse velocity ratio. And how we can calculate velocity ratio? Velocity ratio is basically dP by dG, ratio of the diameter of pinion and that of gear. dP by dG is your velocity ratio, dP by dG. And its tan inverse will give you the value of theta P1 as 38.66 degree. And since how we will calculate the theta P2, we all know that theta S is equal to theta P1 plus theta P2. Alright. So from this we can easily calculate theta P2. From this we can calculate theta P2. Alright, theta P2 is how much? 51.34 degree. Then equivalent number of teeth on pinion can be calculated by the formula for equivalent number of teeth, which says that TE is equal to T sec theta p. So for pinion, putting the value of number of teeth, we all know that the teeth and module and diameter have got the relation m is equal to d by t. So from this, number of teeth in pinion can be written as dp by m. dp is your 80 diameter of pinion, so 80 by m we will write in place of teeth of pinion. Then sec theta p1 we can calculate, and finally we can get a relation for finding equivalent number of teeth. Unknown m is there, we will put unknown, there is no issue with that. And finally, when we will put everything in the equation of tangential load, that is in the equation of tangential load, then it can be easily calculated. Similarly, we will calculate the number of teeth in gear in the same way. All right, then after, since both are made of same material, students, then according to the rule, as I have told to you, according to the rule, if both the pinion and gear are made of same material, then in that case pinion is considered as the weaker one. So pinion is the weaker, and the designing is done on the basis of the weaker one. So designing will be done considering the pinion. So for pinion, we will calculate the tooth form factor. The formula for calculating the tooth form factor is 0.124 minus 0.684 upon TEP. Here one thing you should keep in mind, that always we will use the equivalent number of teeth. Always we will use the equivalent number of teeth. So in this way, this is the tooth form factor for pinion. And the pitch line velocity, how we will calculate it? We all know the formula. Its formula is pi dn by 60. So pitch line velocity we have calculated 4.6. Moving further, since design equations are a bit lengthy, but step by step we are going. Now since pitch line velocity we have calculated, so based on it we will calculate the velocity factor. We know the velocity factor formula from data book also you can calculate. It is 6 upon 6 plus v. Put the value of v and you will get the velocity form factor. Then the length of the pitch cone element. We all know the length of the pitch cone element, or in other words we can say slant height of pitch cone. How we will calculate? How we can calculate, student? Slant height means if this and this, if in this way, one is this pinion and this is the other gear. So in these cases, student, you first of all what you will do, you will draw a vertical line from here to here, and you will draw a vertical line from here to here. And now if we have to calculate this pitch cone distance OP, then how we can calculate? Already this angle is 90 and this angle is 90. So you can calculate from this, the slant height can be calculated by dg by 2 minus dp by 2. dg by 2 ka whole square plus dp by 2 ka whole square. In this way you can calculate the value of slant height. Alright, this formula also you should know. This is not a formula, by common sense, your IQ, you can use it. dg by 2 whole square plus dp by 2 whole square. Finally, you will get slant height equal to 64 mm. Face width, since nothing is given with, for the relation between face width and slant height, always generally face width is 1/3 of the slant height. So let's take it 1/3. So b is equal to L by 3 we are taking. This means that b face width we are taking as 22 mm. The torque on the pinion will be how much? The torque is calculated in this way. T is equal to P into 60 upon 2 pi n. This will give you the value of torque transmitted on the pinion as 23870. So torque we have calculated. Now we will put all these values in the this tangential load equation on pinion. Tangential load, we all know, if torque is available to us, then we can get the tangential load by this formula. Finally, putting all the values in this Lewis equation, we can get an expression which has only one unknown, which is the module. And module, if it is in points, you can round off it. So 5 is your module. Based on it, you can calculate the number of teeth in pinion and gear, because already we have used this relation at the initial start of this numerical. So again, after that, you can check your designing by first of all calculating the maximum load for wear, and check whether this maximum load is more than tangential load or not. If it is more than tangential load, then our design is satisfactory. So that's the students for today's video lecture. Now we will discuss some multiple choice question. Coming into first multiple choice question. The first question says that when bevel gears have equal teeth and equal pitch angles, connect two shafts whose axes intersect at right angles, then they are known as. So we all know when the shaft angle is 90 degree. When the shaft intersect at 90 degree, that means that the gear is meter gear. Then coming into MCQ number 2, the face angle of a bevel gear is equal to, so the face angle of bevel gear is equal to pitch angle plus addendum angle. Second is the answer. Coming into the third one, the root angle of a bevel gear is equal to, so the root angle of bevel gear is equal to subtraction of pitch angle and addendum angle. We have already discussed this whole thing, students. MCQ number 4, if B denotes the face width, L denotes the cone distance, then bevel factor is indicated by bevel factor. We all know if face width and cone distance is given, then we can calculate it by 1 minus B by L. Alright, then after coming into MCQ number 5th, for a bevel gear having pitch angle theta, ratio of equivalent number of teeth to actual number of teeth is equal to, see directly we have calculated this, it is equal to sine theta cos theta. Moving further, coming into the next MCQs. MCQ number 6, meter gears are bevel gears mounted on shafts which are intersecting at angles greater than 90 degree. Galat, it is not a correct answer, it is wrong, false. Because in meter gears you have an angle of 90 degree. Question number 7, crown gears have a pitch angle of 90 degree, are mounted on shaft intersecting at an angle. So in case of crown gears, always the angle between the shaft is greater than 90 degree. If pitch angle is greater than 90 degree, then bevel gear is known as internal angle if the pitch angle is greater than 90 degree. So these were the MCQs. Now coming into the 9th multiple choice question. For bevel gears, the pitch angle is, for crown bevel gears, the pitch angle is equal to 90 degree. Coming into the question MCQ number 10, if pitch angle is greater than 90 degree, the bevel gear is, so the bevel gear, if pitch angle is greater than 90 degree, is your internal angle. So all the multiple choice questions we have discussed, students. I hope you have understood each and everything. You can use the references, any of the book you can use, all are very good books. For today, it's enough, students. Thank you and have a nice day.